Welcome to Elderly Care, where we share heartfelt stories and practical wisdom to help you live well and age with grace. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of inspiration. If you find value in today's video, please give it a like and share it with others. You never know who might need this message. In today's story, we'll gently uncover the 5 most common mistakes that quietly rob older adults of their balance and show you how to avoid them, one steady step at a time. There was a moment, quiet but unforgettable, when Mr. Allen, an 82-year-old retired teacher, stood in the middle of his kitchen and felt the world tilt beneath him. It wasn't the first time. A subtle stumble on the staircase last spring, a missed step on the garden path last summer. Each event seemingly minor, yet quietly unsettling. This time, however, it struck deeper. He clutched the counter and waited for the spinning to stop, asking himself, is this what aging really feels like? Like many older adults, Mr. Allen had always prided himself on independence. He still drove his car to the market every Sunday, read the newspaper with his morning coffee, and watered the rose bushes his late wife once adored. But lately, something had shifted. His balance, something he had never thought twice about for 8 decades, had started to betray him. He isn't alone. In fact, a staggering 99% of older adults experience noticeable balance problems after the age of 60, not because their bodies give up on them, but because of common, preventable mistakes that creep into daily routines. These are not sudden accidents, nor are they signs of weakness. They are slow, silent habits that go unnoticed, until the day we find ourselves reaching out for a wall that used to feel unnecessary. Today, Mr. Allen's story becomes a mirror. For anyone over 60, especially those who still want to walk unassisted, live independently, and enjoy their golden years with confidence, understanding these hidden balance traps can be a turning point. Let us walk through this quietly urgent topic, not as a list of warnings, but as a story of rediscovery, a return to trust in our own bodies and choices. To begin, we must look not at what has gone wrong, but what we often overlook. It starts with stillness, the kind that feels safe. After retirement, many older adults reduce movement without even realizing it. The daily commute is gone. The stairs at work disappear. The walks to school to pick up grandchildren are less frequent. This reduction in daily activity may feel like rest, but over time, it causes the body to weaken in subtle ways. The muscles responsible for stabilizing us, especially in the hips, ankles, and core, begin to atrophy. It's not about weight or strength in a traditional sense, but rather about the body's ability to respond quickly to a misstep, a slippery floor, or uneven pavement. Dr. Karen Ellis, a geriatric physical therapist with over 2 decades of experience, notes that balance is a use it or lose it function. When we stop using our stabilizing muscles regularly, they become lazy, and a lazy muscle doesn't react quickly when we're thrown off balance. That's when falls happen, not because someone is weak, but because the muscle didn't remember how to protect them. Mr. Allen had unknowingly fallen into this trap. After retiring, his walking routes became shorter and his time spent seated increased. Without realizing it, he had stopped challenging his balance systems, and so mistake number 1 reveals itself. Not staying gently active every day, not challenging the muscles and reflexes that keep us upright in small, safe ways. A short daily walk, standing on one foot while brushing your teeth, or even rising from a chair without using your hands. All of these build balance. Yet, most people let them slip away with routine comfort. The second common mistake lies in the feet, the unsung heroes of our stability. Many older adults wear slippers indoors or shoes that lack proper arch support and traction. While they may feel cozy, these shoes can quietly sabotage your safety. Improper footwear can dull the foot's sensory feedback to the brain, which is vital for balance. Furthermore, the lack of grip increases the risk of slipping, especially on tile or wooden floors. Mrs. Delgado, a sprightly 74-year-old dance teacher from New Mexico, learned this lesson the hard way. She tripped in her kitchen not because she was careless, but because her favorite soft-soled slippers couldn't grip the freshly cleaned tiles. It wasn't a dramatic fall, she says with a chuckle, but it made me rethink my choice of footwear, especially indoors. Her solution is simple but effective: non-slip house shoes with solid support. A small change, but one that restored her confidence on her feet. The third pitfall comes from vision, or rather, the subtle changes in eyesight that we often ignore. As we age, the eyes lose a bit of their sharpness, particularly in low-light conditions. Shadows become deeper. Contrast between surfaces blurs and depth perception wanes. Navigating stairs or uneven terrain becomes riskier, and when the visual system can't properly guide the body, it's up to the feet and core to compensate, which, if weakened, leads to instability. Routine eye exams are essential, but so is lighting. Many older adults live in dim environments, particularly at night. A well-lit hallway, motion-activated bathroom lights, and high-contrast floor markers can make all the difference. One study from the American Journal of Geriatrics found that increased lighting in key home areas reduced fall risk by 40% in people over 65. This brings us to the fourth mistake: ignoring medications and their side effects. Mr. Allen, like many seniors, was prescribed a mild blood pressure medication after turning 75. It worked well, but had a quiet side effect: occasional dizziness when standing up too quickly. At first, he brushed it off, attributing it to hunger or fatigue. But as it became more frequent, he realized it was medication-induced postural hypotension, a common but often underreported cause of imbalance. Dr. Ellis explains that many medications, especially those for blood pressure, cholesterol, anxiety, and sleep, can subtly affect the nervous system. These effects may not be dramatic, but they add up. That's why regular medication reviews, especially after 60, are critical. We often find that a simple dosage adjustment or an alternative prescription can restore both clarity and stability, she notes. Finally, we arrive at the most silent mistake of all: neglecting the mind's role in balance. Anxiety, fear of falling, and low self-confidence all affect how we move through space. When we become too cautious or overly tense, our movements become stiff, unnatural, and ironically more fall-prone. The fear of falling often causes people to stop moving altogether, which further weakens balance systems and creates a dangerous cycle. Mrs. Saito, 69, had always been active, but after a neighbor fell on the sidewalk and broke her hip, Mrs. Saito became afraid. She stopped walking in the evenings and avoided the park entirely. I didn't even realize I was afraid until I felt my legs shaking when I stepped outside, she admitted. What helped her was a local balance class for seniors, not only for the physical exercises, but the shared stories and support. I wasn't the only one, she smiled, and somehow that gave me strength. As we reflect on these 5 often overlooked causes of balance loss: decreased movement, poor footwear, reduces vision, medication side effects, and the psychological weight of fear, we begin to see a pattern. Each factor is small and quiet on its own, but together they form a fragile web that can easily be disrupted. Yet the good news, perhaps the best part of all, is that these mistakes are entirely preventable. And not only that, they are reversible. Mr. Allen, after speaking with his doctor and a balance therapist, began making small daily changes. He replaced his worn slippers, joined a weekly Tai Chi class at the community center, installed motion sensor lights in the hallway, and spoke openly with his physician about adjusting his blood pressure medication. Most importantly, he gave himself permission to move again. Not perfectly, not without caution, but with care and courage. 3 months later, he stood in the same kitchen where the dizziness once gripped him, and smiled as he stood on one foot, counting to 10. The floor didn't tilt. The world didn't spin. He felt grounded again, both in body and in spirit. And that is the heart of this story. Balance, in the end, is not just about the physical. It is a reflection of our relationship with the world, our confidence in moving through it, and our trust in the body we've lived in for so many years. So if you're reading this today, perhaps sitting in a favorite chair, perhaps after noticing a stumble or two, remember, it's never too late to take steps, literally and metaphorically, toward better balance. Not for anyone else's sake, but for your own peace of mind, your freedom, and the joy of walking through your days without fear. You don't have to fall. You don't have to lose control. You can reclaim your balance. And that journey begins not with a leap, but with one quiet, steady step.